Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you are well. I'm okay. Honestly, all week I've been a little bit blue. I'm okay though, I'm okay. It's purely because I have been spending way too much time at my desk, writing emails, doing research, making phone calls, looking at my calendar, juggling and jiggling, and I'll explain why in a second. But yeah, there's it's sort of like today feels like, okay, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, this is the roller coaster that I'm on now, I think, for the next few months. So just suck it up, buttercup, get used to it. It's all to do with the house. Right, but some lovely stuff first. I mean, the house stuff is all good. It's just I don't like sitting at a desk. That's the bottom line. I was not put on this earth to sit at a desk. Just like, let me do something, let me be outside. Yeah, before I dive into all that, just a quickie. I mentioned A Farmer's Diary at High House Farm by Sally Irwin, which is now finished, so it's going in my shop. Really enjoyed it in the end. It's a really simple, straightforward, quick read. It's very sort of no nonsense, down to earth. It's about her and her husband and the farm they run in Northumberland. It's mainly sheep, but they also do a whole chunk of arable. So it follows their farming year. It doesn't pull any punches, so although it feels like such a lovely, cosy, charming read, there's some difficult stuff in there. It's the truth of farming. Yeah. I highly recommend it. I mean, I think it should be part of a national curriculum that kids spend some time on a farm and they get to read books like this, because we should know where our food comes from. And really importantly, we should know the effort and the work that farmers put in to growing and rearing this stuff that we just pop to the supermarket for and grab off the shelf. And you know, so many of our farmers are struggling. They are just staying afloat in many cases. These sort of small mixed farms, you know, they can hardly compete with these mega farms. I won't go into the politics of mega farms, but anyway, yeah, we should know where our food comes from. We should know the efforts that our farmers put into growing and rearing. And I think if more of us read this sort of thing, I think we might think twice about what we pay for our food. I think in our country, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, but we seem to have this expectation, almost like it's our right, to have really cheap food, like really cheap. But cheap food does, ignore my phone, it does come with a price. And that price is often, you know, farmers not making enough money, animal welfare, and not just animal welfare in terms of the animals they're rearing, either meat or dairy, but also animal welfare in terms of our wildlife and ecology. So yeah, really good, happy, it's a happy read. I'm making it sound a bit heavy and way thought-provoking, but yeah, highly recommend it. But what I really highly recommend, I just caught sight of it again, my new top. It's so cute, isn't it? £1. £1. Marks and Spencer's. I was in a charity shop. Where was I? Was it in Poole? It might have been while I was in Poole, or it might have been I was in Wareham recently as well. Anyway, it was in a bin, like a sort of basket, just shoved full of all sorts. And it said, everything in here, £1. And I caught, at the corner of my eye, I just saw that little bit, saw the embroidery, and I thought, hello, what's that? Let's have a look. Pulled it out. And it's a sweet little, sort of almost like a little smock top. £1. Oh, I do love a bargain. So much of my clothing comes from charity shops. Anyway, the other wonderful thing this week, I read it, of Thorn and Briar. Read it in 2 sittings. I would have read it in 1 sitting, but it got to 2 o'clock in the morning and I thought, I've got to go to sleep. A Year with the West Country Hedge Layer by Paul Lamb. There he is on the back. That's his little mobile home, a caravan. And it's his face. It's an old horse box that he's converted. Does what it says on the tin. It starts in September, just as he's about to go into his hedge laying season, because it's a winter activity, so it's mostly sort of October through till March, sometimes pushing into April. In the summer months, he doesn't sit still doing nothing. He does other woodsman type work. What a beautiful book, or an absolutely gorgeous book. Really interesting. Now, I thought I knew quite a bit about hedge laying. I probably know more than your average Joe in the street, but learnt loads about different styles, what have you. Oh, look at this one here. I'm going to say that that's the Midland style. So all of his work, mostly his sort of home base, doesn't really have a home, but he's based mostly out of Dorset. So he's sort of Dorset, Somerset and Devon mainly. So when he's describing the countryside, I can see it. I can see exactly what he's talking about. So obviously there's quite a bit about the hedge laying, and there's one part as well, one of the farms he's on, where he's actually planting a new hedge with all the little whips. But so much of it is about what he observes, the light, you know, in the distance, the crops that are growing and swaying in a breeze. It's about the birds he sees and hears. It's a proper immersion in the countryside, the undisturbed countryside. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But also it talks a lot about that this is becoming a lost art, although maybe it's just beginning to have a resurgence, as this is touched on a lot in the book as well, the whole idea of sort of ecology, sustainability. I'm sure I wrote down 3 pithy things: ecology, sustainability, woodland management, woodland and countryside management. And because people are becoming more aware of how important those things are, farms are starting to put back hedges. Thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of hedge were grubbed out shortly after the Second World War to create these mega fields that mega machinery could work in. But yes, some people are starting to put them back, or like some of his work it's hedges which haven't had attention for decades, and the current owners have said, right, come in, can we start this process again? Can we start having our hedge seen to? So it's quite optimistic from that point of view. Quite often, when we're reading books these days about the countryside, and I'm delighted that there seem to be so many more of this type of books on the shelves. Way more than 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know, when I was in my 20s, this has always been my field of preference in terms of reading. There was so little, but now it seems you can go into a bookshop pretty much any time of the year and there'll be 1 or 2 new publications right there available, including this one. So yeah, the reflections on how that whole cycle is coming back, hopefully. What comes across more than anything is just his love for and respect for the woods, the hedges, the whole countryside. There are a couple of quotes I wanted to talk about, I wanted to mention. Oh, I thought this was a lovely passage. I'm going to read a little passage. And I thought that this is exactly what I think about when, I mean, probably less so now that I've got my garden outside my door, because if it gets grotty, I'll just, come indoors. And certainly I'm not gardening on the same scale as I was at the allotment. That was like self-sufficiency. This is supplementary. And I think I mentioned this after one of my gardening videos recently about those times when, was I doing the patio or doing the weeding, getting the ivy down? I can't remember what it was, but it was during a time when I was doing those kind of jobs, which are just, they're boring, they're monotonous, they're no fun, they seem to go on forever. Don't fancy doing it. I want to do the fun stuff like planting or playing with my tomatoes. And whenever I've had those moments, especially in the winter on the allotment, when I'm trying to do some maintenance, is to remind myself, and it's very easy, in those moments of thinking, oh, I can't be bothered, is to picture the garden in July and August when the bounty is coming, when the weather is gorgeous. All of that work will pay off and we will have summer and bounty and deliciousness again. So keep that in your mind in the middle of winter when you want to give up. He puts it much, much more beautifully than me. Where are we in January? He's on the top of, I think he's on the top of a cliff or a hill. It was a sorry, I put my teeth in. It was a stark scene there on top of the windswept hill, the leafless thorns rising from the cold, bare earth. But as I sheltered in the hawthorn hollow, I allowed my mind to picture the scene in the years to come. The new hedgerow would look beautiful here, weighted heavy with mayflower in the late spring as swallows danced overhead. The spring lambs would find shelter beneath it from the sun and wind, while the kestrel would hover in the coastal breeze. He's on the top of a cliff. The kestrel would hover in the coastal breeze above, taking voles and mice which strayed from the cover. The owl, too, from a vantage point among the taller thorns, would watch silently for these morsels on still summer evenings. The work here in January was hard going, but there was a great joy to be taken in this thought, and for a moment there under the old thorn, buffeted by the west wind, it was a calm, warm day in May. Oh, love it. That's what we can, whatever scale you're gardening on, those days when you don't fancy it, especially when the weather's inclement in the winter, when you don't fancy it, that's the trick we need to play with ourselves, is to picture the balmy, calm days. Absolutely beautiful. I must say thank you to Angela again. She picks the most amazing books for me. I think this is the 4th book I've read that she sent to me, and I've got to say, just getting better and better. This is my favourite so far. I adored it. It is not going anywhere near my shop. I'm keeping it. I think when my cousin comes to visit, he might want to nab it. Get your own copy, because he does some hedge laying, dry stone wall building, etc. But yeah, a massive, massive recommendation from me. And it's, like I said, it's quite a quick read, excuse me. Utterly, utterly delightful. But also, again, thought-provoking. But like I said, I think thought-provoking in a slightly more optimistic way than a lot of the sort of rural living books I've read in the last 10 years, which have been focusing so much on what we're losing, whereas this one is hopeful for what we might be starting to get back. Gorgeous. I also, another charity shop find, and I thought, well, I've got to give this a go. It's not going to be one that anyone's going to be able to find. I'm probably going to put this on eBay. Purbeck in the past. So my little area of Dorset, it's called the Isle of Purbeck, because on 3 sides we're surrounded by sea. We're a peninsula, and on the top side we're bounded by the River Frome, or Froome. So this is archive films from the 30s and 40s. That it's mostly about farming life and the village life around here. A little bit about the seaside. Oh, it was absolutely beautiful. It was lovely. And again, watching it, there's something throughout that's so familiar. And it's really kind of quite poignant in a way, because it's all so familiar, but just out of touch. Just gone. It's just gone, and can't have it anymore. So for instance, working with the heavy horses, mechanisation came to Purbeck quite late, but yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I am going to put that on eBay. Remember what I was saying the other day about eBay, the niche stuff. So really, really fab entertainment from evenings when, I'm trying to finish doing things a little bit earlier. I'm always aiming for 8. There are quite often my work doesn't, I end up still editing or whatever till 10. But the last couple of days, I've been turning everything off by 7 in the evening, just because it has been such, it's been really top heavy with desk and phone calls, and I know that's not good for my mental health. It's probably not good for my physical health either. I mean, I do get up every hour or so, at least every hour. I get up, I move around, I walk around, I come through the whole house, come down all the steps, go up the steps to the back garden, come back in, right, settle down again. But yeah, finishing at 7, reading, listening to a bit of music, whatever it is. A couple of evenings I've just sat there, all the windows open, just had literally half an hour of sitting, doing nothing, just letting my thoughts meander, daydreaming, just listening to the birds. Brilliant. So, a lot of what I've been doing, where are we up to? So I mentioned the other day about trying to get a bit of momentum, not momentum. I said that the other day, didn't I? Getting a little bit of momentum going in terms of both the house and my flat within it. All sorts of things. Get some balls rolling. So in the last few days, and it's quite incredible, so now that I'm the freeholder, just to clarify again, that doesn't mean I own the whole building. I certainly can't afford to own the whole building. I own the land and just this layer of the building, and there are 2 more layers, 2 more properties above me which are privately owned, but because I'm the freeholder, it's my responsibility to organise everything. I don't have to pay for everything, you know, in terms of the maintenance of the building. That should be shared equally in 3 parts between the 3 of us, but it's my responsibility to organise things. So for instance, one of the things, I have to read it because I know it is an EICR, is called the Electrical Installation Condition Report. So yeah, it's a case of getting an electrician out here. So for the communal area, so for the hallway, everything that's in the hallway, and that includes lighting, emergency lighting, and the fire alarm system. Those electrics have to be checked and certified every 5 years, and it's overdue. So get on with it. And I thought, while I'm having it done for the communal area, I'll also have it done for my flat. Now, I don't have to have it done for my property because I don't let it out. If I was letting it out, so if I was Airbnb-ing, I would have to have that certification. I don't think everybody does, but you're supposed to. But I thought, because I'm looking at the certificate that's there, and it hasn't been done since 2019, so it's 6 years ago. It should have been done before now. So I thought, okay, let's get that done as well. Like I say, I don't actually need it. However, for my own peace of mind about the electrics here, let's get it done and make sure everything is okay. At the same time, but with a different electrician, I was just mentioning, so we have emergency lighting and fire alarms out there. And this is all, this big legislation change a few years ago after the horrible tragedy at Grenfell Tower. And the legislation, it just means any property with, I think it's more than 2 households under one roof. In other words, a big block of flats, a tower block. Or, like I'm here, there are 3 households. My flat in London, that was 3 households. So that legislation applies to us here, even though we're really tiny, as much as it applies to a 50-storey tower block in the centre of London. So we have to have, you know, we have to have these fire alarm systems, we have to have all these hardwired smoke detectors. You can no longer have a smoke detector on the ceiling with a battery in it, it's got to be hardwired. There has to be emergency lighting, which will come on if all the electrics get burnt out, so that people can still see down the stairs to make their escape. I understand, you know, why it's all in place, and obviously in the bigger the building, the more necessary it is, but goodness me, what a faff. So the fire safety report, that needs doing, so that needs to be booked in by, I think it's the beginning of October, so that's on my list, haven't done it yet. But in the meantime, all of that stuff in the hallway that's supposed to be tested, it's a quick test once a month, hasn't been done, and I don't know how to do it. So I believe that I will be allowed to do it if I've been shown by a qualified person. That's the monthly. But then there has to be an annual test where all the power goes off for 3 hours to check that all the backup batteries and everything works. And that has to be done by a qualified person. So I'm just trying to arrange a qualified person to do that. And then I have to coordinate with all the other households to say, we're going to have no power for 3 hours. Back your computers up. Yeah, I'm not sure whether we have to turn the power off to the whole building or just the communal area. I'll find out. But again, it's one of these things. There's so much for me to do here. But this first year is, you know, it's a steep learning curve. I'm making notes. I've got folders for each aspect, so that eventually I will have a little kind of at a glance, in 1 month's time, you need to do X, for example. And also by next year, I will have made the contacts from this year, so I can ring them up and say, hey, can you pop over and do such and such a test for me? Steep learning curve. So that's in hand. I put my feelers out. I'm just waiting to hear back from I've got 2 different electricians because it's 2 different things. One is booked, the certification is booked. That's in 2 months' time. They were trying to book a certain date and I was going, well, you can, but I've got to get a new smart meter. The smart meter's broken. And I thought so I have to have the power off for the smart meter. So I thought I can't have my electrics checked if the power's off. And then I realised they're a month apart. They both happen to be on the same date of the months. So the smart meter is booked. The electrics certification is booked. All the fire safety electrics, the feelers are out. I'm just waiting to hear back. What else is going on? Yes, I'm starting now to call roofing companies because we need to replace the roof. So that will be done. One of my jobs for today, I can get on with this today, is I need to measure up for wallpaper for the bedroom. I want to do something nice because all of this, so much of, like, you know, I said it's a doer-upper. A lot of people have said there's nothing wrong with it. But it's all the things that you don't see that need taking care of. Like this blimmin' fire safety stuff. So wallpaper, measure for the wallpaper and get it bought because I don't want that line to discontinue because I really like it. It's a wallpaper by Laura Ashley. It's called Kate and my best friend is called Kate. So it's really pretty. If you look it up, it's the one. It's got little diamonds made of foliage in green and then there's a little, I can't remember what the flower is now. Is it a rose? But it's in a sort of in a blue. So blues and greens, my favourite colours. Get measured up for that. Yes. Also, I don't know if I've got time today, but this is it's on today's list. I'll see if I can get it done. I need to start ringing around carpenters because I want to start. I want to get pushing ahead with everything actually, but in the living room to have one alcove is going to be all shelves, the other alcove is going to be shelves most of the way down, and then about this, maybe a little bit tall, about this height, to have cupboard in the bottom, rather like this, because that cupboard then in the living room, that will be housing for my sewing machine in one side and for my iron, because the Polty iron, it's big because of the water chamber for the steam, so it'll house the iron and the sewing machine, so that then when I get back to sewing, which will hopefully be next year, that will all be done in the front room. So they'll be there and say, it's a sewing day, get the machine out, do my sewing, do my pressing, end of the day they can be put back, stowed away, close the cupboard doors, so that in the evening when I'm trying to relax, it doesn't look like a seamstress's studio. That was one of the big things, you know, moving from the other flat, was wanting to have a home where I can put things away so I'm not continually reminded of work. Because when you're continually reminded of it, you think, well, certainly I do, it's 8 o'clock in the evening and I can see a pile of sewing and I think to myself, right, I should probably do a bit more. You know, get the right. So that's carpenter to book in. Well, I'm going to get 3 carpenters in to quote and then book them in for the work. Get the roofing quotes. And today I've had back my fabulous, I'm calling him my fairy godfather. I should call him my fairy grandfather because he's sort of very grandfatherly. My guy who is doing my planning application for me for my windows, he's already been in touch with my window company, so they're talking and communicating. I really like him. So he's been back today to take photographs of all the front elevation and all the measurements for the front and part of inside, and then he's going to come back next week. He's going to do all the back and side elevations. So I was assisting today a little bit because he measured the entire length of the flat. So I walked the length of the flat with the tape measure, so I went right to the back garden window there. Yeah, he's. I really like him. He seems so thorough and yeah, brilliant. Part of the measurements, he was measuring my ceiling height in the front room, and I knew it was tall, but it's just over 3 meters. So the living room and the bedroom, the ceilings are just over 3 meters, which is, I think it's about 10, 11 feet. They are tall ceilings. I think that's why, you know, when I first moved in, people were like, wow, it's so much bigger than your London flat. It's actually, oh, is that the first rumble of thunder? It's been threatening all day. It's really close today. Yeah, it's this flat in terms of square footage is only about, I think it's 35% more than that. I mean, that's a lot. I love it. But I think the reason it feels so much bigger is the ceiling height. So yeah, it was interesting assisting my fairy god / grandfather, fairy grandfather, today. I said to him, I like being your assistant. I'm going to help him on other jobs. No, I'm kidding. So, yeah, and also I'm just starting to explore the front door because I am going to try to refurbish that myself, because I've been looking at front doors and never mind finding a reclaimed Edwardian one. Well, we're about 90, very late Victorian. It's looking like £1,000 plus for a front door. Good grief! I mean, it's wide. It's a beautiful front door, as in space. Now that cost would be shared, but I'm going to see if I can refurbish it. The only thing is, it doesn't have its stained glass anymore. It's leaded lights in the 2 panels. It's got really horrible 1960s. It's glass with, you know, like with wire mesh in it. It's so ugly. So I'm going to start looking on reclamation sites to see if I can find 2 panels matching, preferably 2 panels of matching leaded lights to go into the front door. And if that is the case, if I can do that, then I'll refurbish as much of the front door as I can, but I'll get someone, a specialist, to put the glazing in. You can see now why I've been a bit bluesy this week, because it's just that's a lot of juggling, lots of phone calls, lots of appointments, lots of trying to work out when I can squeeze people in. It all goes into that trust thing as well, that whenever we employ someone to do a job, especially when it's in the home, and we've talked about this before, and I know a lot of you completely get it. When you're employing someone in your home, it's a huge trust issue, isn't it? Or trust deal, because not only are you trusting them to do the work well, because we're paying out lots of money for it, but it's that trust of, and I don't mean it as in like, oh, I'm going to turn my back, but they're going to steal something. I don't mean that, but just that vibe, because people bring energy with them. And if you're coming into my home, I want your energy to sit well with my energy and the energy that's here. And the energy that's in this place it's just very happy and chilled and at times silly, but it's really happy and chilled. So I don't want anyone coming through that front door who's bringing a bad vibe, who's bringing any kind of negative energy. So That's why I get a bit stressed about these things. But the main thing is to be, like I said, moving balls, getting balls rolling. And none of this is going to happen overnight. This is all stuff that's over the next few months. But I just want to get a move on. I want to start moving things along, because ideally what I'd like is by this time next year, most of the inside of the flat will be sorted. I want to be able to have days free for sewing and all sorts of other things. What won't be done by next year is the kitchen, because I'm having to save up again for that. So the kitchen won't be done. But what I'm hoping is that the living room and the bedroom will be done, and that means I can also sort out the flooring there, because those carpets are horrible and stained, and they're horrible. I just don't want them. So don't, I could clean them. I don't want them. They're horrible. But yeah, so in other words, this time next year, I would like from the kitchen door here all the way forward, I want that side of my flat done and sorted. I want the outside of the building stuff done and sorted. Then I can relax for a couple of years, and in a couple of years' time after that, then think about doing the kitchen. Oh, but maybe next year, we'll see how the funds go once all this is all done. Maybe next year I can sort out the patio. People keep saying to me, oh, have you thought about lifting a few of the patio stones and growing in the ground? Of course I've thought about that. Of course I have. I'm a practical lass. I want more growing space. So when I get the patio redone, because it's so uneven, it's dangerous, but also I do not want to waste my life digging weeds out of those patio. I hate crazy paving for that. So that's a possibility next year that I might aim, well, I'm going to aim to get that patio redone, and at the same time, less of it goes back, creating more beds, more growing space. That would be great if I can do that next summer, but never mind next summer, that's a long way away. Let's live in the present. Let's enjoy the garden for what it is today. Make the most of what I have got out there. Keep enjoying the kitchen. I mean, it's grown on me. I don't hate it quite as much as when I first moved in, but certainly let's get the living room. I want my books. I want my books out of boxes. That's my motivation. I want to get a carpenter in, to get those shelves sorted, so I've got somewhere lovely to put my lovely books. If you see a copy, grab it. It's just been published, so I think it's literally this year, 2025 it was published. Your library might be able to get your copy already if you don't fancy paying out for a hardback. £20, so expensive. I mean, the paperback will be out, and I guess that will be £10 or £11. So in the meantime, if you're broke, see if your library will get it for you. Please read it. Mr. Paul, what a great guy. We need more Mr. Pauls in our life. Right, I'm going to go. What am I doing? I said I was going to do something. How closely were you all listening and paying? Ah, yes. Measure for wallpaper and go and start calling carpenters, and then have a lie down. All right, lovelies, I'll see you again really soon. Until then, take care. And listen, good luck with your ball juggling too, if you're in a similar situation with a million things going on and no one to delegate to. I need a partner, not for the love, just for delegating. It'd be nice to have the love as well. Right, that's a whole different subject. I'm off. See you all again soon. Cheerio.